to demonstrate certain things. And whatever I'm doing, feel free to replicate, stop me whenever you want, and so that we can, together collectively go through the certain features that Audacity has, and has a lot of them. As a freely available program, it is pretty powerful. It's pretty amazing what you can do with it. For if you're not a professional person who works with sound, as a musician or sound editor.
I've never worked with sound at all on this kind of computer. So.
Okay, this is gonna be good then. So that would be the first thing would be to copy that onto your desktop. Step number 2 would be to install Audacity. Some of you might already have it on your computers. By the show of hands, who's got it? Okay.
I don't.
By show of hands, who has it on their computer?
From last year.
From last year, there was something on Audacity. Yeah, okay. So if you don't have it on your computer, that is fine. We will go ahead and download it.
Yeah, you also. What? Where do I go?
Where do you go? You go to teamaudacity.org. Teamaudacity.com.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not. Okay, fine. Let's just Google it. Audacity, and it should be.
Oh yeah, Audacity works. Is this one, right? Download.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. Download.
Hold on.
AudacityTeam.org.
AudacityTeam.org. Okay.
The other way around.
AudacityTeam.org.
But is this the one that we...
Yep.
Enter.
You should get something like
I have
this.
that. Yes.
Okay. Are you?
Wait. Yes. So
Yeah,
go
what's the
here.
one? Download here. Should I trust this?
Yes.
Okay. Are we all here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Perfect. Now, depending on your operation system, it should be able to recognize what version you need. So, download.
I hope because I'm
In the middle here.
And then the people who are downloading it already have Macs, so you want to do this. Audacity for Mac, OS, Mac, X. And then there's a bunch of stuff here, but you want to click on the first one. The DMG file, yes.
Okay. And now?
And now it should download.
Shall I? Well, but you have to keep on.
I don't have that.
To have this.
Yeah, that's what I have to. Okay, well, so they changed it. Okay, let's so here. No, do not click the Start Now button. No. Click this one. Audacity Mac OS DMG.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay, downloading.
Okay, and once you've downloaded it, move it to the desktop.
Where is it?
Click on it.
Click on it.
Is it on the
No, it's
desktop?
opening.
It's opening.
Oh, okay, you're already a step ahead. Okay, so double clicking on it will open the installer, and then what you need to do is hold it and move it into the application shortcut folder.
Oh.
Right here.
Oh, where do we put it?
This in here. Yes.
So I already have Audacity in this computer. I'm not gonna reinstall it.
No battery.
What is the, okay, it's there.
It's in there. It should be in the application. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Like something like this.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Good. So now you should have a file on your desktop and Audacity in your applications folder. Excellent. Let's open up Audacity.
What's going on?
Spare battery?
Oh, charger! I need a charger.
Yes.
But it's the wrong one. You cannot put it in there. Oh, you
Yes,
can. Oh, you have the
because
same
mine
one.
is super old.
Okay, I don't need it.
Happy
My
birthday.
battery is-
Happy birthday. It was her birthday, no mine.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you just double click on the Audacity icon in your applications, it should open to something like this.
Can you find it? Ah, yeah, here.
Larry, you have it open? And say Antonio, you have it open too, and just by show of hands, whenever you guys have it all open. Okay, the first thing, so remember how, perfect. So remember how last time we were talking about recording things, and we used the recording booth to record things. We used QuickTime to record uncompressed sound, and we also used Vocaroo.
Yes.
This online tool, and then we also talked about how you can do sound recording with your cell phone, with your tablets, and then also I mentioned that you can also record sound with Audacity directly. So with that, I wanted to. It is pretty easy. There are, however, a couple things that you need to keep in mind. I wanted to point out when working with sound recording with Audacity. Now, we're not going to be recording any sound with Audacity because we've already done sound recording last week, right? But just to make sure that we've covered it.
Cheers.
So for when you are recording, or when your students are recording with their computers, first things first, you gotta make sure that with this, where you see this microphone icon right here, that stands for input. And if you expand the Dropbox, you will notice that I have two different devices that are able to register sound. You may only have one.
I have one.
For you, it should be something like built-in input
That's all I have.
or built-in microphone.
One
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, that's
No,
fine.
two
Because
channels.
no, well, do you have two here?
No, in the.
But we're in this box right now. Okay, so right now, so here you only have one input, and that is because you only have one microphone in your computer. Once you've plugged in more devices, you will see more things. Right here, I have a Pro webcam, which is on the top of the screen that can also register sound, which is what I have to. Okay, so make sure that you select the correct input. Secondly, for your microphone, you can either record in mono or stereo. The difference is that if you are recording in stereo, you will see two different sound waves, two different tracks, one for left and one for right speaker. The difference between mono and stereo, we have two channels, which will show as two separate tracks. Mono is one channel, which will show as one track. When you're recording on your computers, have this selected.
We don't do.
Stereo.
Okay.
And then the next icon to the right is a speaker, right here. Built-in output, I only have one because I'm using the built-in output in the TV. If you have other speakers attached to your computer, you will obviously have more options available to you. Okay, great. So that's one thing. Another thing, when you are recording with Audacity, if you go to Preferences, and this is going to be slightly different on the PC. So Audacity Preferences.
Yes.
And if you go to recording, was it in recording? No, this is no, I'm sorry, quality. So this is not terribly important, but since we are talking about sound, I thought that I should mention it. Essentially, what you already see here, this is pretty good to begin with. What I wanted to do is just talk really quickly about what all these things mean. So, sample rate stands for, if you record a video, right, what you essentially record is a bunch of frames that are in a sequence, right? And depending on how many frames per second you get, the more fluent the video will be. With the sound, it works in a very similar way, in the sense that rather than recording frames, you record samples. And this number shows you how many of these samples per second your microphone will pick up. The higher the number, or the higher the frequency, the better the sound. Normally, keeping it, this is pretty standard, 44,100 hertz. Depending on what you do, you can choose between 44 or 48. 48 is usually for videos. Anything above 48 is barely noticeable to human ear.
Wow.
Okay, so
Can we try that?
I don't know if you have the speakers to be able to try. There's a difference. So that is what it does. Okay. Now, another thing that you will notice, and let's see if it's here. Format. Okay. So the second one is sample format, and that is measured in bits, which tells you essentially how much information each of these little samples of sounds can contain. The higher the bit frame or the higher the bit format, the better. I think 32 is the highest that's available. Jesus. It's highest that's available, and you should keep it at that. Okay?
Yes.
So essentially, in terms of the quality, you don't have to change anything that's here. We talked about the selected the input, and then we talked about the recording, and that is pretty much it. Okay, so just these two things sort of to explain to you what all these hertzes and bits are. All right, we can close it by clicking OK. And this is pretty much everything that I have prepared for you in terms of recording, which is again something that we're not going to do. What we will do is import or work with the sounds that we have recorded last time. Okay, so you have already recorded a bunch of things. And then I also have something that I prepared to work with. To put it into Audacity, you can either take the file. Where is my file?
Or open, no?
Just-
Open a file.
So you can either drag and drop it into the Audacity window, or you can go to File and Open.
And the reason to put the recording in Audacity is what?
To edit it.
I see. Got
What do
it.
you want to edit?
Yeah,
What can we edit?
Everything.
You can make it shorter or...
You can make it shorter. You can make it.
Like a
You can clean
You
out
can
the
cut-
background
yeah.
noise. You can
Uh-huh.
make transitions. You can cut it up. You can beep out swear words, or the things that you don't want your students to hear.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
insert
yeah.
silences, all sorts of things.
But it
Nice.
can take forever.
Actually, I mean, depending on what you want to do with it, right? But this is within your this is within your prerogative there. Okay, so I'm gonna import this guy right here.
Okay, search dive is brilliant.
And as soon as you put a file into Audacity, you will see what's called the sound wave.
Uh-huh.
And this is basically what this
Yeah.
file is, right? Do you all sort of see
Same.
the same thing? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and play you this sound wave, and this is Brian Carson reading out the lyrics to Hotline Bling by Drake. Do we all know Drake?
No.
No, Drake is a
We
rapper.
should, but
Drake is a
Probably.
rapper.
we don't have time for
You don't have time for okay.
It's not
But
really
we're
hard.
fascinated, so go for it.
Wait,
Yes.
well, okay, preview then. Hold on.
No, we don't need a preview. We don't really care.
Okay, well, this is rap lyrics.
Go, go, go.
Okay.
Let's see.
By hitting play,
Yeah.
you'll obviously play.
Hotline Bling by Drake.
Another thing.
Ever since I left the city, you got a reputation for yourself now. Everybody knows, and I feel left out. Girl, you got me down. You got me stressed out. Because ever since I left the city, you start wearing less and going out more. Glasses of champagne out on the dance floor. Hanging with some girls I've never seen before. You used to call me on my cell phone. Late night, when you need my love. Call me on my cell phone. Late night when you need my love. I know on that hotline bling, that could only mean one thing. I know when that hot.
Okay, you can stop it by pressing the space bar, and at which point it will go back to the very beginning of the file, or the recording. By pressing the space bar again.
Hotline bling
it will start
By Drake.
from 0. You can also
Hotline
press
bling.
the P button, at which point it will
Right,
pause.
I see. And not go back to the beginning.
and not go back to the
What would
beginning.
be that?
P, letter P.
Oh, on my computer.
So you stop play is with the space bar.
Na chácara do Chico bolacha, o que se procura nunca se acha.
And you pause it with
Okay, so it's not in there, you don't click on.
No, I didn't click on anything. I was using the keyboard as a keyboard shortcut.
Use keyboard, I think this button.
Mhm.
Use keyboard not to stop.
pause.
The pause.
But pause, but you can
So
pause up here.
No, because then it goes back to the beginning.
there's two. So space bar, if you press it, it will either start or play or stop playing. If you stop playing, it goes to the very beginning of the selection, and then starts over. Now, if you press the P button, it pauses right where you want it to pause, without going to the beginning.
It actually has a similar function with the pause button.
Stop.
Because it
No,
has a
the
pause.
pause button.
Yeah, I mean you have those buttons here. I'm
You
just
have
giving you.
the-
Yeah,
oh,
I'm just giving you shortcuts on the keyboard.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you're right. You have those buttons right there that do the exact same thing. Now, let's go back to the beginning for me, and you will notice that
Hotline bling. By Drake.
there's this intro there
Ever since I left
that sort of precedes the actual reading. So let's say that I want to get rid of that intro.
Mm-hmm.
In order to do that, you go up to the top bar of the editor, and you will see that around here there are these 6 icons. Okay, those are called the tools, and we'll go through most of them. What you want to do is select the select tool, which is the first one right here, and with it, you kind of click wherever you want, and then highlight the section that you are interested in.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And now, if you want to remove it, what would you press?
Delete.
That's it. Very good.
I know how to do it.
So how did you do that?
Doesn't seem to want to leave it for me.
If I do that thing, I'm
So
gonna.
you
Press this, click the part that you want.
yeah, that's it.
I'm wondering why it's not
No, here, just like,
deleting for me.
select it here. No, here. No, try pressing here, we need this, we are working with this.
So while you try that,
Now you are
ask a question.
selecting.
Yeah, well, anytime.
And
I've done it
Um,
with me, so it's.
You
So
said-
what is this, what is
Is
the
it
difference
here?
between this and if you would do something like that in GarageBand, which I normally do? Is this better? I mean, can you do more
It
things?
is. You can do more things in this
Okay,
than in GarageBand. Yeah.
right.
I can't seem to figure out why this is not
Ever since I left
deleting
the
that.
city, you.
Let's see here. Okay, I want it to here. And if I
Hmm.
interesting.
Maybe when you go to edit on top? Oh, there you go.
There you go. Okay, so
You
it
did
did
it.
it. Did it. Okay, great.
But
Okay.
if I erase here on mine, then
Okay,
I'm
give it
gonna
back.
lose that.
So if you want to remove a portion of your sound track, you do so by
So I
deleting.
shouldn't be doing that right now.
Well, you still have
No,
it on your
but
flash
what I would, so what I did is I removed it, right? So now it should
Ever since I left the city, you.
Right.
start from where I wanted it to. Now let's say that you've removed something that you didn't want to remove. You can undo the action the same way that you would undo it in a word editor by pressing Command Z.
Oh.
Or going to edit, undo, delete, or undo whatever the
Yeah.
previous action was. So they'll be under edit and then first. Okay, cool. So now you'll see there's a couple other things that are at the top. okay, going maybe from this side right here, you can zoom in on the sound waves if you're interested in, you can zoom into very like, essentially samples, which are these dots right here.
That's totally for professional stuff, right?
If you're interested in really nitty gritty
What
kind
would
of,
you do with that?
you know, if there is a very, if you need to edit some very granular level, then, you know, you would.
And not for us really.
Probably not, no.
And now after you've edited, can you export it again to Flushtrek?
We'll talk about it.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. Those are very good questions. So you can, you amplify, you can magnify it, you can, let's say, make it small. And then, let's say that let's say that you've done some editing on the magnified part and you want to say,
I don't want to select anything. Unselect, how do I unselect?
click anywhere.
I'll click anywhere.
Don't select.
So right now this is magnified. If you want to make this fit, or if you want to see the whole spectrum, again, there's a shortcut for it right here, which will bring it all to the screen. And this will fit the entire track into the window so you can see.
And the numbers, is that seconds or milliseconds, like 15, 30?
Those are seconds.
There's a seconds, got it.
But this will then change depending on the level of magnification.
Sure.
So
So then you know approximately how long it is, from the shoot or whatever.
So okay, so this one, this icon right here is a shortcut to put everything on the screen for you. And then let's magnify it again. And if you are interested in just the, let's say, the selected portion of your recording, then you click this button, which will magnify only what you have selected.
And you would do that because it's easier to work in.
It's just easier to work with. That there's something that you as a language
Right.
instructor are particularly interested that highlights certain use of grammar, vocabulary, the cultural aspect. You might want to zero in on that. Now you see that there are.
I don't know. Because I don't know, I've pressed the magnifying.
Which you press this one.
These two, like the zoom buttons, and I don't know what I'm seeing.
So in order to go back to the original file, you click this.
Where? Where?
Fit project. This one.
Ah, okay.
This brings the whole spectrum back on the screen.
Okay.
Now you see that there are 2 channels here. One,
Yes.
2, which means this is in stereo. This is a stereo recording. If it were a mono recording, it would only be 1 channel. You only see one spectrogram.
Huge big space here.
Why do you have this big space here? That is a very good question. I am not really sure, but and actually we might as well just talk about it. So
Na chácara do Chico Bolacha, na chácara do Chico Bolacha, que se pro-
I cannot listen to anything on my computer. Can you tell me?
what do you have as your output?
Where is the
Wow, that's
Where?
big, some things.
Which is the first thing we talked about. So in your output, this is where you determine where you want this to be played.
Salida integrada. Which one? Two is two?
Oh yeah, no, this
I just have
yeah.
one option.
Do you have built-in output highlighted?
Probably. I have it in Spanish and just one option.
Okay, so it should play. Now the other possibility might be that your laptop is muted.
It doesn't look like. And I tried to upload 2 things. Let me check if I have sound. I was trying to figure it out what's going on.
Okay.
Sorry. You go ahead, sorry.
So well, let me know if you can work it out. Wendy is here to help you too, because you've already worked with Audacity. So Jose Antonio has a situation like this where there's an empty gap, empty space somehow for the recording. Let's see what happens if we play the file from the very beginning like this time.
It's the first time. It's dying.
Hotline.
So there's nothing.
Where?
Mhm.
Can you do what copy that?
So Jose Antonio has a situation where there is an empty space in front of the actual recording. This empty space indicates there's nothing there, no silence, no anything, no data. What we would like to do essentially is ideally to get rid of the space somehow, right? But you can't really cut it because there's nothing there. You can't move vacuum.
Right, if there was silence, then you can't cut
Then you
it.
can cut it. So what we need to do is click on this tool right here, the time shift,
Ah,
and move it over.
oh, how neat. That's really neat.
So
Hvis you do that, so I think because of course
How did you do it?
Is it
I don't understand how to do it.
I don't know why you don't understand.
I have no idea. I have two things. I haven't understood that part.
interesting. Okay, yours doesn't move like that. That
Not
is
mine.
She has something similar, I think.
We cannot do that.
You can't do that. Interesting. Okay.
You
Well,
both have a MacBook Air, maybe that's why.
no, that has nothing to do with
Nothing to
it.
do with
No,
it?
because he can't move it either. I would have to look into it. It might have to do with how the file is encoded. Which is fine. That's okay. How do you delete again?
Yeah.
So you go to the select tool, let's go this one, and then you highlight whichever section you are interested in deleting. For me, I'm just going to choose this at random,
Okay.
and then you hit the delete button.
I tried it. Oh, okay.
Sometimes it
There's a
needs a
lag.
second to think.
There's a
Chico
lag.
lascia che si procura
Okay, now you undo.
What I discovered,
Mhm.
I took out the
So,
input for
Also, this is such a street sound.
Try to.
So then when
This is a song.
so then
But
Okay, but still,
if I
they-
play
This is
it,
so.
Chico
yeah, okay, so it's
che si
music
procura
also.
che si esce.
Oh,
Quando sono
yeah.
muito significa che
Try
parti
to
perché
close Audacity.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't work with YouTube.
No, I know, it's weird.
Do you know what I'm going to do?
Okay.
Restart.
So you will see that. Okay.
Good idea.
Moving. Well, first of all, are there any questions? You were just saying.
Can we add more, like 2 songs? Like 2 things? at
So this is actually the next thing on the agenda. You see that there are 2 sound waves, but this is only one track as indicated by the yellow frame. What you can do is you can add more tracks to it.
Right, like
Actually, infinitely more tracks if you want.
instruments.
Yeah, for instance. And let's see here. So I will use this as an opportunity to. Oh shoot, I'm not synced here. Okay. There is actually a website with open source sound files that you can use.
That's super interesting.
Is it striking?
I think it's the...
Yeah, probably.
Is that?
Well, no, it's not. It's
No,
probably.
It's
It'll
super
work
sick.
now. It will work
Aw.
now.
So there are actually a few of them, and I will open them all up for you.
Huh.
Let's see here.
I'm gonna write that down.
There's freesound.org.
Just like sound effects and stuff.
It's going to be sound effects, it's going to be songs, all sorts of things that either you or your students can then incorporate into the podcast.
Listen,
Freesound.org.
sometimes you use music and use the free.
There's soundable.com. Or there was soundable.
Maybe it's with an A?
Let's hold on. I'm sorry, no, it's Sound Bible. Soundbible.com. No, not bubble. Let's see. Soundbible.com.
You still misspell it.
I still misspelled it.
Yeah. Take a deep breath.
And you could add them to a video that you made or something.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Picture Bible. I've heard of it. I think
Doesn't
you might have
work.
told us about that one.
So these websites that I'm showing you now, or these repositories of sound files, they're all free domain, meaning that you can use them however you want. There are no copyrights on
Oh,
them.
how nice.
Yes, but how good are they?
Some of them are better than others, but you know, it's
It's
totally.
not something.
So it would be like a
You would have to
train
see.
or
Music.
The first one was called Free Sound.
Freesound.org.
And that one.
And then the third one is. Oops.
Oh, that's good.
The third one is 3sfx .co.uk.
Free?
Sound effects.
SFX. Oh, I see. UK. Freesound effects.
So I'm going to use this one, and I will look for music. And let's see, royalty-free music. So since I am actually, my soundbite is rap, I'm going to see what rap things are there. Hot rocks. Let's see that. Let's see what this is. Okay. So let's say I like it. I like this sound. And I'm going to go ahead and download an MP3. Oh, you must
Must
be
be
logging
logging
into
in.
download something. It's okay. Well, let's.
But yeah, get a picture.
It doesn't matter, it's very good.
Okay, well, let's see if I can do.
Because sometimes you want to upload things and you need music, like background music, and it's very if it is procured.
But then, do you really want to background music
Yeah.
on a recording? Because it makes it harder for listeners to.
Well, it would be up to
Yeah.
you.
It's,
So you have a
sometimes-
conversation, then you add train noises, so that
Well,
or
there's a-
street noises to make it more difficult.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I think that this
Cowboy
otherwise is
theme.
not natural.
Let's see this.
Cowboy.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and download
Cowboy
this, and
theme.
maybe I won't need to log on to.
So you add it to the poem.
That would be nice. You create music with that poem.
Huh.
That's what I did. This is the music of the poem.
That
They
really
go down
that's
the argue.
free of rights?
Yeah.
In your body poem?
Where's iTunes?
Even if you don't like it, you lose the thing.
Ah,
Oh, it's gonna be stuck in our heads now.
yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, good. So now, this is downloaded. And I'm gonna put it on the desktop here. So far you're following, you'll be able to replicate this at home. Okay, cool.
So where did you get that?
It's not from this site, it was from Sound Bible. Like, the Sound Bible didn't require you to register.
Oh, there you go. Got it.
Well, there's a ton of
What did you do
them.
that you saw about sound?
Okay, I'm gonna
Suddenly.
move that. Okay, cool.
What?
So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and import this song into Audacity by going to File,
Uh-huh,
Open,
uh-huh.
and where is it?
Uh-huh,
That's
so in the music.
Documents, was saved to the desktop, Cowboy theme. Oh, okay,
Alright.
I didn't.
Yeah, it created a
Oh,
separate
it's a
document.
separate document, that's
Oh,
okay.
So it's changed now.
Let's move it, let's drag and drop it here.
Oh,
yeah.
there you go.
There
That's
you
how
go.
it's
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Okay.
like,
Oh, how
That's
come?
easy.
that's a lot easier, right? Okay, so now we have, two different tracks, and there is no limit to the number of tracks that you can import.
And you can play them simultaneously.
Well, so let's see what happens when you play them.
Probably.
Late night when you
Okay, so they're playing simultaneously, right? We probably don't want them. Or maybe we would
Yeah,
like to,
sometimes, yeah.
we
But
would
it
like,
is fun to know how to do that.
Yeah.
right? But maybe we would like to, I don't know, move
Edit.
things around, or
Yeah.
edit, or have the song. Well, maybe the song is
Places
first of all
are
too
good.
long, right? Maybe we would like to shorten it. So let's say that I am interested in maybe the first, I don't know, 5 seconds of this song. So I'm gonna highlight the rest of it and remove it. So now we have only the 5 seconds here. Yeah. And again, if we hit play, oops. No, from the beginning now. I have to go here.
Hotline bling. By Drake.
Okay. Let's say that I am not really interested in having them play simultaneously. I would like this to be the intro and for the reading to come after. So what I would need to do then is select this time shift tool and then move it.
Doesn't work mine. In ours?
It doesn't work in
Try,
yours?
no. I mean, you can select, but everything.
Look at the music. That's the music.
Oh boy.
Ah,
How can we move it?
So we go to sound effects.
We select
I look.
it, but
I
we cannot
look.
move it.
I looked for
so
music.
I think so.
Actually, I looked for songs. Sorry.
I could just,
And I think one of the options is the cutaway. You just click it
I don't know.
and
How to move it.
you click it deeply.
I mean,
why went there?
but it
You
doesn't.
see
It
what I'm-
And
doesn't.
Simon, when it's simultaneous, you probably can also play the music, make the music softer and the voice louder.
Yes, can you do that?
That's
Mhm,
fun
you can.
too.
Like,
I wanted to. I want. Yeah, you can totally do
We
that. I
can
wanted to
select
see.
it, but I don't know what to do next.
Sure. Okay, so stop. And this is. Okay, we close this. And this is a separate file,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So, in order to move it,
Oh, it was easier.
and it's just-
What?
So
Just move it.
Oh.
in order to put the music, you
It's
just
so
drag
Yeah,
it.
just drag and drop it. So the file,
You
if
are
you want to have
overthinking
two
it.
separate tracks in one window, you just drag and drop whatever you want to work on into that window. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, alrighty. Moving on.
Lascia
Now,
che Chico lo lascia, chi si preoccupa.
Vane pointed out it would be nice if we could maybe turn on the
No, lower.
lower the volume
music
of the background music, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and redo the changes here, so now I have the full
Right.
track. But this is too loud, and
Uh-huh.
one of the ways in which you can see this is too loud is because it fills
Spikes.
up the whole track. We can decrease the volume. We can decrease the volume by turning down the gain.
Ah,
The first thing.
The first slider under the mute and solo buttons.
do you have to highlight it first, or does it not do everything?
If you don't highlight anything, it will apply to the whole track.
To the whole track?
It's very easy.
Very
How
easy.
big is it?
The first one. Here.
This one?
You lower.
That is so neat.
Mm.
I like that.
Na chácara do Chico Bolacha, o que se procura nunca se acha.
So
Quando chove muito, o Chico brinca de barco porque a chácara
Yeah.
now
Yes,
it should be
bigger.
so now it should be noticeably quieter.
Ah.
Let's just go here. And then this is just move it to 0, and it's like this.
Hotline bling. By Drake.
Okay, so what happens when I move or reduce the
Uh-huh.
gain? You should be able to hear the difference.
Oh yeah,
Hotline bling.
definitely.
Oh, yes.
By
That is
Drake.
really nice.
Yeah.
And so easy.
Yeah, so easy. Do you have to make sure that you're applying this to the whole thing? You have to select and
So
highlight?
if you don't select, right now you see that nothing is selected.
Yes.
If I select something, whatever it is selected is what the gain will be applied to.
And selected will be a different color?
So it would be a slightly darker color. In order to select it, you need to choose the select tool
Yes.
from the top.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay. Now you will notice that above the gain slider there are two different buttons. There's the mute and the solo button. Yeah. Mute it mutes out the track, so that now if I play it, I will only hear the narration. Now, what is solo? Well, solo is the opposite of mute. It means that it mutes everything else
Oh, really?
and leaves the one solo
And then-
track by itself.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow.
So this is not. So you probably won't be able to. Let me click it again. With mute, I mute it out. Okay, it doesn't play. With solo, whatever I am soloing stays active, and everything else gets muted.
Right.
If I have multiple tracks, let's say if I have 4 of these, 3 of them will be
And you have
silenced.
one for each.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This, there are probably plenty of situations that we want to do that, but I can't really think of one.
Well, this would be for editing to see how different things sound. With the background, without the background.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so on and so forth. Now, let's say, okay, so I am no longer interested in the cowboy theme. I'm gonna remove it.
That's it. Oh,
That's
okay.
it.
That's so easy.
So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it, and I would like to have a better view of this track now. So I'm gonna go ahead and magnify it, blow it full screen, so that I know what is happening better. And I'm gonna play it again.
Hotline bling.
Okay, so the first, second is the reader, the lecturer introducing the the song. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight it, and I'm not really interested maybe in having it announced before the track. And let's say that I would like to. I don't want to remove it. Maybe I will use it later. I would like to copy it, and I would like to copy it and maybe save it for later. There's a shortcut for that, and that is. Dara, can you pass me a marker? So on the Mac, if you press Command plus D, it will duplicate the highlighted portion and copy it to the next track automatically. Now the question is, why would you need something like that? This may be useful if you have an important bit in the original material, and you would like to, let's say, get rid of it and have it play somewhere else. So that way you can easily do that.
Right.
Questions? Why? So you're working on the podcast, right? And this is, let's say that there is, your podcast contains a report. There's like 5 minutes of news, and that you want your students to listen to. And these 5 minutes of news happen to be at the beginning of the report. The rest of the report is, too hard for your students, you're not interested in it, whatever. So what you want to do is highlight the first 5 minutes that are useful to you, copy it to a separate track, keep it there sort of as a clipboard, and then you can use it or you can, move it around against, let's say, a narration. So
different.
So it would be a different track,
recording.
different recording.
Okay.
Mhm.
Keeping it.
So it's just a way to keep things kind of in the
And
working
you
memory.
might want to maybe put them together.
Right.
And
The one
for
thing
a
to
selection of excerpts
Mhm.
or snippets.
But the one thing to one way to look at this is that even though these things are on sort of separate tracks, when you play them, they play continuously.
Okay.
So just because this is here and not here doesn't mean that you can't hear it or that it is separate. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Now,
And of course, when you want to test this, where the solo mute buttons can be really useful.
Yeah.
Working.
Now, let's say that I don't want this at all here. I can remove it. What happens when I remove it is that everything shifts to the left. Now, what if I want to remove it and not have anything here?
How? An empty space. You want an empty space.
So
You move it. You move it.
You can move it, but then there's always a
Can you
risk
see? Yeah,
for
it's
you
not
to,
going to be
it's not going to be exact. Because then, if I, let's say, if
It's
I
not
remove
really-
it, right, and then I select this tool here, how do I know how far to move it?
Right, yeah.
The moment you want.
Well, yeah, but how do you know how
You
far?
have to guess.
How much?
If,
how
so
much
this
do you
is
want?
this long, right?
Right, it's a bit of a guess.
You're guessing.
Yeah. This is how I work.
But let's say if you don't work like that, if you don't want to guess, you would ideally want to have a little something here, like or for this to to leave a hole.
Some kind of
Space
top.
Mhm. So to do that, we go to edit and which was the function?
La chakra do Chico lo lascia perché si preoccupa.
Tracks.
Chakra de Chico Brasil.
Absurd.
La chakra de Chico Brasil.
Where is this function?
La chakra do Chico lo lascia. La chakra do Chico lo lascia.
Joder.
Acabas de repetir, ¿no? La
La
chakra
chakra do Chico lo lascia. La chakra do Chico lo lascia.
What's it mean?
I don't know.
Sure.
But it,
Chakra is like a shack. So it's in the shack of these men called Chico Balasha.
Ah, oh, that's a name. Chico Balasha. I see.
Okay, this is So this is a version
The best.
of Audacity where the functions are sort of different from what I worked on. There is a way to remove it without the whole thing shifting. It's called split cut.
Split cut.
And I will look into that option for the next workshop. Now, since we are talking about splitting here, let's say that we have this clip here, right? We have this hip hop song, and we want to at 15-second marker insert something within there.
like what?
I don't know, like this is a podcast for your students, you might want to maybe insert a question there, or point out a forum, or
Yes, something.
input an assignment, right? Something that will have them interact with the content. So in order to do that, we need to split the sound first. To split it, you press Command I. I will write it down too. So Command D would be.
I mean, if it doesn't work with commands,
It has
how
to.
come with not mine, but
Are you sure? Okay, I'll look into it in a second. So this
I
splits.
think that I have disability on the command. I think.
This,
Yeah, that I don't have it.
Disable Command key.
Disabled.
I'll try the other one. You have two.
Which one?
There are two command keys. If one doesn't work, try the other.
I tried that.
So are you sure you need to have the select tool selected first?
Which one?
The select tool. This one. Is it selected for you?
It is selected. now.
Okay, so now you click on anywhere within the track and press Command I. It should split it.
I think I made a good one.
Let's see. So
Oh, maybe it's not. No, it's true.
Oh my God. I was pressing command A, but yeah, no, I think that it's something that I did.
I have one that's.
My computer.
Oh yeah, maybe it is.
It was me.
It's a very strange computer.
What have you said that we have? Maybe I can find it with you.
I think what you need is.
Maybe you have to. I have
Just
two
how
very-
to
I have
break it
several
apart.
copies.
Yeah.
This one seems to be prominent.
Maybe you have an old Audacity too.
I
That's
know,
another thing.
because I need to change my computer.
Or just get the Audacity.
Maybe there's something.
It's not working for you?
Because it's very old.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Yeah. It happens the same with the videos.
You couldn't do that either?
I cannot do what
Right.
what you are doing because you are
How old is
using
it? Your laptop?
my baby.
When did you get a new one from the
I'm
department?
waiting for it.
For the computer replacement
Yeah,
program?
I'm waiting for that.
Oh, okay. I just got one.
Yes. And you want me? Yeah, me too. It's coming this
Once
week.
every 4 years or 5 years?
Five.
Or it's 5 years,
Four.
right? 4.
You for?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
This is 5 years.
I don't know why.
So get a new one. And leave this for other kids.
Yeah, this is going to be for just playing or
Yeah.
for the to stay at home.
Right,
That's strange.
This is like
Yeah, the air is nice. It's
no,
not-
but I asked for the motivation pro. I don't know why to change.
I have to go.
Okay,
I have to
we
be
go,
somewhere
we
at
go.
4.
Yeah.
5
You can.
people.
Yeah,
That
Thank you,
sounds-
Simon.
Yeah, so I will have to
Bye.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. So there seem to be a couple issues here. We will continue next week because it's already
Yeah.
3:30.
Yes.
We're about halfway through, so that is okay. I will be here for another few minutes. Yes.
Please copy this.
Of this? Sure, if you can, if it
It's
makes
like a
sense
cheat
to
sheet.
you. Yeah, but it goes through the different, like it has some of the shortcuts and it goes through the different things that I want to show you, but it doesn't talk about how to do these things.
It doesn't matter.
So I can definitely share it with you. I know it's gonna be helpful to you though. Yeah?
I think that it is.
Try it.
Because it reminds us what we did.
Yeah.
Fine.
You know? That's
So
why-
for the next time, I think part of the reason of what might be happening is the file that you're working with might be in some way incompatible with Audacity because of for reasons that I am not aware of.
Why?
I don't know. I'll
Yeah,
have
it's
to-
working now.
Things are so.
Mine is working.
Can you split?
No. But I think that is my computer.
No, because she can't
I
split either.
contacted.
But he can.
Let me see if I can.
No, can you split?
Yeah, so you have to select first, right?
Mm-hmm. Select. And then just press anywhere within the, actually no, just like, just press whatever.
Was nice.
Was it?
And then Command I. Yeah, that works for you.
It does?
And now, yeah, so now it's split, and now what you want to do, if you can, if you want to, you can.
Because it was nice. It was nice. Yeah.
I'm just like.
So I
It's okay.
can.
It's not very
I'm not
nice.
really sure why it's not working for them though.
I think that is our computer.
Can you computers? He is,
Should
I
I
mean,
return
No,
it?
this is different. I see. This is another version.
She's got a similar one.
Mine is kind of old.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Old
better
files.
I think it matters. Or when you play something,
I just, wait, I mean, okay, with,
hold it.
to walk
The
away.
OS? Yeah,
Yeah.
surely, it shouldn't matter. And that's what it's split. Okay,
So
we
if
will
I-
continue next week.
So if I get rid of this, these will stay here when I open it again.
So if you don't, are you saving changes?
No.
You hit yes.
I will be able to. I am.
Because you hit yes to all the save requests. So if you quit, you don't want to save something.
And then
And then just
it would be without any.
as though you never did anything to it.
So this is the one that was.
They all have a lot.
Hello. Oh no, bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye, thank you.
They all have a lot of sounds. Some of them will require to have an account. Some of them, like this one doesn't. This one you can just raid. Pascal, do you think you will be using this? Oh, do you have it in your drive? That way I can check
Because I have
those
it
off. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
And when you want to save this and export it, you
That would be the next step we will
That
have
would be
to
the next
do
step.
together, yeah, because there are a few ways to do it. What you're working on is not the actual sound file, it is the project file.
okay.
It's sort of the sandbox.
I'm proposing.
In order to turn it into sound, you have to export it as a sound. 'Cause if you wanted to save this right now, it's going to save as a project.
Yes.
It's not going to save as a sound that's playable by anything. So in order to have a sound, you need to convert it into a sound. Now the question is what kind of sound you want to convert it to. Could be either compressed or not compressed. If you are doing the not compressed, it's going to be a very high quality but a very big file.
Very big.
If you want an MP3, which is compressed, then you will need to install a little plugin for Audacity to do that. And we'll see next week how to go about that.
Yeah. And you said you could directly record on Audacity, so on your computer.
So let's see here.
In a quiet place, but not as good as the
Mhm.
studio.
Mhm.
Of course.
So if I want to, let's say, kind of fit this into the screen even.
Because, I mean, of course, if you, very often you do things like on the spur of the moment, you just have half an hour and you think, okay, I'm going to record something. Let's do this.
So you just press the record
Just
button,
press
but you need to make sure that everything here is set correctly. So I'm going to switch this to the webcam because that is the device that is the record picks sound, and then two stereo channels so that it has stereo sound. And then I'm just going
And
to
then you
record.
just keep going.
And so it records, but you see that it records over to here. It just keeps adding another layer.
Also, if you record on an already existing project.
So what I mean, there's two ways you can do it. So you see that it started
But
recording.
you can open a new project.
You can if you want to. I just didn't do it. But what I did is I clicked here to indicate where I want the recording to start. And this is where it started. But it started in a separate track. What you can do now is you can take this, you can highlight it.
Okay, did it play the previous recording while you were talking?
It played this
Or
recording.
It played this, so it
While-
recorded it again.
It recorded the conversation and whatever it heard,
And also the music.
and also the music.
So it's recorded back twice.
So,
And
but
combined.
this could be right. But this could be mitigated by muting.
By muting.
So we are working with Audacity, Alessandra.
Yeah,
Which is
And this-
okay. You've worked with it before, right?
yes, that's I know it.
Okay.
But not very well. So I need a little, but it's okay.
That's fine. We'll do a bit of a refresher there. What you will need to do is do two things. If you don't already have Audacity on your computer, we'll have to install it. But if you have worked with it, you probably have it. And then you'll need a file. You need a sound file to work with. Preferably a spoken sound file, which you can get from the internet or you can record with Audacity. I'm going to write down the two websites that we looked into last time for free sound effects and free background music. So number one is freesfx.co.uk, and this requires registration. And then the other one was it Sound Bible? Soundbible.com. and this is registration free. And then a couple other things that we did cover were mostly shortcuts really. So space bar was to play and stop. Letter P was for the pause. What else do we have here? And we have these buttons there. That's fine. That's fine. So muting, and then you also have delete, and that is remove selected. And this is pretty important. Area and shift to the left. But there's more, and we kind of start looking into some of the other ones. We will go over them as well. Now, let us all open up Audacity and stick a sound file, and Mike is going to be the narration file that I was working on, which was Ryan Prince reading Hotline Bling. Okay, so this is the sound wave. And this is sort of kind of where we left off, more or less. Okay. So, if I press spacebar.
Hotline Bling by Drake.
It's going to start from the beginning. If I press spacebar again, it will stop, meaning the scratcher head will go to the very beginning of the clip, and then if I press pause, then it pauses right where I hit pause at. Okay. I'm going to give you maybe a minute or two to get back, or to get
So
to
we
this
have to
point.
download the sound and upload it.
Well, it's so you need to have a sound to work with, and by sound I mean a piece of narration. There's a few ways to go about that. You can record it if you like, or you can, use the same file that I am using.
Yeah.
I can, let me just share it. I'm going to email it to you.
It's like a short, you can use also.
Here. What's your resume? AS?
AS 2931.
Okay, I have it right here. So, there we go. Okay, so now you have access to it as well, so you're just going to have to download it and drag and drop it into Audacity. Okay. So,
Why do you simply save it?
oh, that's okay, that's right, because we didn't go over saving it. Hopefully we can do it today. So you go to our
No, I actually
So I think you saved it to the desktop. And yeah, if it's on the desktop, then what you do is just drag and drop it from the desktop into the Audacity window. And this will go for you, Alessandra, too, if you save the file to the desktop.
So, but can I load it directly to download and download it? And then
So you download it to wherever it downloads for you, and then
Yeah,
you move
downloads.
into the downloads folder.
and then it's
And then you have it here, perfect, okay, good. And you're all set too, right? I'm not asking you that.
Na chácara do Chico Bolacha, o que se procura nunca se acha.
Okay, cool. So, to play and to stop it, we press space. To pause it, there's pause, and then we can do certain operations on the file.
Na
In
chácara
order
do Chico
to
Bolacha, o que se procura nunca se acha. Quando chove muito, o Chico brinca de barco porque a chácara dele é chata.
To pause is
Quando não
up,
chove,
to just be alone.
na chácara do Chico.
you press P again, it resumes.
Chico bolacha, que se procura nunca se acha.
So, Alessandro's as well, sound file begins with the introduction.
Hotline bling.
And there's a bit of a music at the beginning of it that, let's say, I'm not specifically
Ever since
fond of, and I would like to remove it. To do that, what we would do is first we need to tell the computer what it is that we're trying to accomplish here. And to do that, we need to, in other words, select a tool. What we want to do for this particular purpose is to select this select tool right here. And this is sort of the default tool that we use. And we can use it to highlight the section of the soundtrack that we would like to work on. So in this case, I'm going to go to about here maybe. And you will see that it is highlighted. And then if I want to remove, I can just hit delete. And removed it is. Now, Jose Antonio, what you might want to do, or at least try doing, is you can highlight this white space here, and you can remove that. Although I'm not going to be able to do it now. Try to hit that, move track. The time shift, and move it to right. Oh. I'm not really sure why this is happening. That's okay. So this is how we remove it. Now let's say that we made a mistake, even though we really haven't, removing that particular part, and we would like to undo it. We can either do that through added undo, and in this case, the function is the operation delete. It's going to be it's always going to be the last operation that we performed. So undo delete this is what would happen if I click here, but there's also a shortcut, which is Command Z. So if I hit Command Z, I should get the thing that I just removed back, and so it appears. Okay. So that would take care of that.
So what was that?
Mm-hmm. What was what?
Sorry, I want to remove this first part.
Mm-hmm. So you highlight and then hit delete.
No, I want to delete.
There you go. And but if
If I want to put it back.
Command Z. Perfect. Okay. Great. No, but if let's say
tool.
yeah, if you I'm gonna remove it again though, just to show you what happens. If I remove it with the delete button, and I would like you all to watch, what happens is that the portion that I highlighted will disappear, but then everything else will shift to the left. Which is okay if this is what we were going for. However, if let's say we want to remove a particular part and then insert something that is exactly the same length, then we need to know how much space, how much time to leave, right? So ideally, we would like to leave this empty. We would like to leave this blank. To do that, let's see. To do that, we can go to Edit, and then from Edit, remove Special, and then Split Delete will remove the selected track and leave an open hole in the sound wave.
Okay, so you said.
So I'm gonna go back and I hit Command Z right here, so that it appears again. And again, I'm interested in removing just the introductory portion of the track with the intro music and the title. I go to Edit, remove Special, and then Split Delete.
Because we have another piece, and this piece space to
So you just removed it, but you removed it in such a way so that nothing else changes in the actual track. Okay. So I'm gonna go back. Or actually, yeah, I'm gonna go back, that's fine. Okay, so we're back to the original track, if you will. And let's say that, go back to the beginning.
Hotline Bling by Drake.
And right here, I would be interested in inserting commentary. Or if it is a podcast, maybe I would like to insert a question for students to answer. To do that, I would need to do a couple of things. The first thing is that I would need to make space for the actual question, for the actual recording, right? Because the way it will work is that, okay, well, if they're listening to the introduction, and let's say that I want to then ask them what the title is, the question would ideally follow somewhere here, right? Which would necessitate everything is shifted. To do that, the first thing that we need to do is split the audio, and we do it by, well, there's a few ways to do it. We can go to edit, split boundaries. It's not highlighted. Oh, we don't have this right here. Edit, split.
Don't you have to select them first to be able to split them?
Let's try it. No. No, we should be able to just place a marker here and go to edit and then split. Dora, can you see if you can do it? So you go to the select tool. Switch tools here.
Of now. Everybody knows.
Oh, okay, it showed up now, apparently. So, anyway, so let's say that I want to, I don't know, there's a glitch or something, that I want to split right here, and by splitting it, dividing it into two parts. So what I would do is mark with the select tool, I would mark where I want the split to happen, and then go to edit, clip boundaries, and then split. Once I click that, which the shortcut for it is Command I, you will notice that suddenly there's like a thin white line in place where I indicated. I'll give you a minute or two to catch up.
so I don't know why it's I have to use this to
To select them?
select and then
You shouldn't need to select a portion of the sound wave.
Yeah, that can, but I think you're going to split the whole, this from here to here, maybe if you just want to cut it, then just put it somewhere, yeah, like that, and then edit, and then
So what we're doing right now is we're making a hole in the recording to answer the question.
Mine's not white,
right?
mine's black,
So
yeah, so you can
let's say that this is where I'm interested in making it home, right? So here's where I set the marker and then I go to edit. Clear boundaries, split. Cool.
So how can you make it?
We'll go in a second. Is it, oh, did it happen for you? Oh, is that
Yes,
right?
that's, my line is not white, it's white line.
Oh, well, it will depend on your screen. His is also dark. Okay, so now we have a line, but it's not really split, right? So what we need to do is actually go ahead and separate it. To separate things, or actually to move different sound waves around, since now we have two, we need to select a different tool, and that tool is this one right here. It's called time shift. So once we select it, like so, we can move these apart. Okay, and you can, have them or set them as far apart as you want. Now, let's just move them away. It doesn't really matter for how long for the moment. And what we will do is we will record a question, okay, that will be inserted here. So, to do that, I want to switch back to the select tool. And then you will see that there is a record button right here. Okay? Sandra, you are not here for that, but before we record, we need to make sure that all of our recording settings are correct. And this is something I went over last time. To ensure that the hardware is set correctly, we go to the microphone icon first. And then if you're using a laptop, chances are that it will say something like built-in input or built-in microphone. You just want to leave it like that. I'm going to use the webcam that's on the screen right there. And then for the type of recording, since my original track is stereo, and you know it is in stereo because there are two channels, I want to keep it in stereo right here. And then the third window, the third drop box, tells the computer what speakers to play it to. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is click recording, and notice that notice that I left the marker right here to make the split, right? This is where I indicated that the split would happen. Now, see what happens when I hit record. And I'm going to also record my question. What is the title of the song? Okay, so now the question got recorded on a separate stereo track, and the recording started right where I left the marker. Okay, so now when I play this thing from the beginning,
Hotline Bling by Drake.
what is the title of the song?
And then you put it in the middle.
Well, then and then you notice the second just hit stop right here. Are we good?
Yes, I'm still trying to separate it. So I'm still...
The time shift. And you just move it up right. Yep, here. Oh, we haven't separated it. So go back to the select tool. Press Command I. Okay, highlight where you went. Now, sure, now press Command I.
I haven't opened the space.
You have or you haven't? So let's see. Yes, and then we go here. Okay, so now it's separated. Now we'll do this.
But that's not the place where I wanted for the separation.
Well, I know, but for the time being, just to see how the process works. Okay. Okay.
So where do I record here?
It's going to start recording right where you make the separation, where the dark line is.
What does the Chico Bolasha do? What does the Chico Bolasha does
perfect. Actually, yeah, okay. So now there's a lot of silence here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is move this closer to my question, and you'll notice as I'm moving it, the computer already helps you to align them automatically. But whenever you're moving things, you always need to start by telling the computer that, okay, I'm going to start moving things now. I'm going to select this tool.
Okay,
Mhm.
and then you leave what you recorded on the other track.
Yeah, because if you notice, when I play it, it doesn't really matter.
Yes.
It plays all
So
together.
it's better because you can recognize the part that you added.
It helps you sort of manage your recording better. Yeah, keeping things separate. We can bring them together, and we'll see how to do it. In a second. Okay. Perfect. So you will notice also that as I play it, I'm just gonna maybe like start from here.
What is the title of the song?
My recording
Ever since I was
is significantly quieter. It's a lot more silent than the original recording, right? So what I would like to do is I could maybe increase the volume. To do that, I think the easiest way to do it is to increase the gain on the file, and we do it with this slider right here. Moving it to, sorry, not this one, plus minus. Moving it to the right should make the whole thing louder. So let's say I want to add 20 decibels to it, and let's see how it goes.
What is the title of the song?
Ever since
So it is louder, but it's also not very clear. There's a lot of background noise. Yeah. A lot of hum. It would be nice if there were a way to get rid of it, to clean it up, and there actually is. So let us take a closer look at this particular clip. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it with the select tool, like so, and then click this magnifying glass, which will blow it up to the full screen. Okay. Now, from here on out, you will notice that this is perfectly silent. There's straight lines. There's a lot of background noise all the way here, right? And it's pretty much the same background noise all the way through, which is good. This is what we actually want. Now, to get rid of it, what we can do is go to Effects, and then go to Noise Reduction. And then the first thing that the computer is going to ask you to do is to get Noise Profile. So essentially, you need to tell the computer what kind of noise you want it to get rid of for you. Okay? Here it is pretty easy because the background noise is very consistent. So hit Get Noise Profile. Oops. Command Z here. Now, to get before we even get there, we should probably highlight what the noise profile is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight this portion right here, and then go to Effect, Noise Reduction, and then Get Noise Profile. So now, computer, this noise sample is that now that it is in computer's memory, we can go ahead and apply it across the file, or across the whole song sample. So let's go back to our noise reduction. And then let's highlight the entire sample right here. Go to Effect, Noise Reduction, and then we can leave these default values as they are, and then hit OK. And you will notice that the noise got reduced significantly. So now if you listen to the sample,
What is the title of the song?
There's still a little bit of noise. The process is never going to be perfect, and it could be adjusted with these values right here. So if I want noise reduction to be even greater, I can certainly do that.
So you use the background noise.
Yeah. So now I brought it down by 6 more decibels.
What is the title of the song?
So this is one way to clean up your own recordings.
You can do also with the other recordings, not video, with any.
Anything, just check this out here. It's perfect. Yeah, anything that has any kind of background noise could be cleaned up. The challenge is always to be able to isolate the noise that's in the background. In this case, it is consistent, so it was pretty easy. If you record in the recording booth, you're not going to have that problem at all because there is no background noise there. The whole thing is soundproof. If you're working on files that you get from the internet, chances are those are already high quality without any background noise as well. Okay. So let me now go back to the whole thing, the whole file. And to do that, I'm going to click this magnifying glass right here, right by the play button. And it should bring the whole file to the fore. Now, we've increased the gain on my own question, but the question itself is still, if we play it, it's still relatively silent.
What is the title of the song?
Ever since I left the city, you...
What I could do is I could highlight it and additionally amplify it from effects, and then amplify. And here you essentially input the amount by which you want it to be amplified. 5.9 I think is the default, but if we stick to it, or 5.6, sorry, if we stick to it, let's see what happens. We'll see that the frequency increased. If we play it, it's probably going to sound distorted.
What is the title of the song?
And you can tell that it sounds distorted because if you listen to it,
What
the
is
indicator
the title
goes way through the red
of the
zone.
song?
Another way to look at it is if you look at the waves, wave spectrum. If it is really close to the edges, that is not good. You want to keep it kind of within the mid-range right here. So I'm going to go ahead and actually hit Command-C, reduce the amplification, and then maybe amplify it with just a little bit less. So instead of 5.9, I'm going to do 2.1. Should make it a little bit better. Now, last week we talked about how to add background music to it as well. I'm sure you remember. Okay. Was that any of you? No. Okay. Let's go through it again. So this is just a narration, what we have right here. But let's say they want to make it more interesting. There are a couple online repositories of royalty-free sounds that can be downloaded and used indiscriminately. And I selected 2 of them that I wrote on the board right here on the wall. The first one requires you to create an account, which takes a total of 3 seconds. The second one, it doesn't. So let's go to the second one. Actually, you can go to the second, well, let's all go to the second one, which is soundbible.com. And in the search box, I'm going to look for it.
It's not free sound, right?
Mhm. No. We're in Sound Bible. Sound, that's another different one. That's Quizlet. Well, I'm looking for hip hop. You guys can look for whatever you want and see what it comes up with. Okay, so it has one sound effect, which is DJ scratching. I don't know how I feel about that. It would be better to have music. Let's go to royalty-free sounds. Rap. Pterodactyl scream. That's fantastic. Okay, instead of Sound Bible, I'm going to go to.
So you can download from Sound Bible.
Mm-hmm. But I'm interested in an actual song, an actual soundtrack. So this website is actually a little bit better for these things. It has a lot more material. I'm going to go to. Well, there's a lot of ads, but like it has sound effects and it has music as well. And under music, there's a separate category for hip hop, rap. Let's say that there's this hotbox. Perfect. This is what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and download an MP3. I already have an account. So, what I'm going to do right now is I'll move it into my project. And so now I have, blow it up a bit. So now you see that I have 1, 2, 3 different things, right? And if I play them.
What is the title of the song?
Kind of all plays together. It's all going to play together. Now, what I would like to do is move things over. So I'm gonna highlight this. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and select this tool and sort of move everything a bit to the right, so that I have this as the background and this as the narration. Now what happens when I play from the beginning? I just do the intro. Okay, so this is fine, but I'm actually maybe interested in leading or this sounding a little bit more professional in the sense that I would like. I would like for the background sound to fade into the introduction, and to do that, I'm going to highlight the portion right before the intro. Go to the effects and select the fade in effect. which will create a gentle So if I'm doing this at the front end of the track, I may need to do something similar at the back end. So I'm gonna go ahead and highlight this portion here. But rather than doing fade in, I will select the fade out from the effects. And that way we have this kind of more professional transition from one thing to the next. Is everyone with me so far? More or less? Are there any questions?
The problem of these tools is that when you're here, everything is clear, okay, I can do it. And if you don't do it immediately, many times, at least in my experience, I forget.
Well, me too.
So I need to go home and try Untitled between today and tomorrow. Just so, otherwise everything goes away.
Right, but well then you guys are taking notes, right? So it shouldn't be too difficult to trace. And yeah, I mean I have this pretty similar challenge where I did Spotify last year, but for a workshop at this year I had to review everything and recall how to operate it. Now, let's see. So if I play this from the beginning, go back here to the very beginning of this.
Hotline bling. Right.
I probably don't need an intro over an intro, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this right here. Shift this over, or maybe even highlight it. Highlight the whole thing, and then press Edit, Cut, and then actually edit, paste it into the original file. Now I'm going to move this over here so that it all connects. Okay. And then now that I don't need this empty stereo track, I'm going to close it by pressing the X button right here. Now this is a lot simpler. Now if I play it together, it's still gonna sound the same though, but it's just I think it's a lot easier to manage visually.
What is title?
Now you'll notice that you can hardly see the commentary or the language over the music. What we need to do is perhaps turn down the volume on the music a bit, and this could be done automatically with one of the effects that are available. So if I want to, let's say, highlight the portion of the dialogue that I want to be able to hear over the music, and then if I go to effects and auto duck needs a control track which must be placed below the selected tracks. Oh, I see. Okay. So, gotcha. So it looks like to move this over here. There we go. And then okay, this is my effects. Okay, this is fine. You will notice that whenever I am talking,
hotline bling. Frederick.
What is the title of the song?
Ever since I left the city, you...
So you'll see that, so you notice that the music is still playing, but it is automatically being adjusted to the soundtrack. So whenever there are silences in the spoken track, the music will automatically go up. And if there is, there's the opposite of the silence, so there's speech, then the volume will go down in the background. And this could be further adjusted with, volume, amplification, gain, and so on and so forth. This is kind of the general overview of how to edit things in Audacity. We do have 5 minutes left, so I want to show you how to actually save the tracks. Saving in Audacity is simple but not intuitive, in the sense that if we go to File and go to Save Project, and let's say I want to save it to the desktop. Okay. What will happen is everything, minimize the 2, you will see that what I get is, there's a bunch of files here, but if I didn't have these files, you should get 2 different files. One is the project file, and one is the folder that accompanies it. Now, this is not the sound file. This is the box that you are using to work on the project in Audacity with. This is not something you can share with your students. This is not something that you can play with iTunes. This is not a finished file. In order to have a finished file, what you need to do is go back, and then from File, go to Export Audio. From where you select wherever you want this to be saved, I'm going to choose Desktop. And then you'll notice there's a bunch of formats that are available. Now this brings us to the final point, and that is compression. So the first 2 formats are uncompressed, and these will offer you the highest quality of sound, but they're also going to be large, and probably not very suitable to share with people over the internet. If you are, however, looking to record or save something in high quality, just for you, the first format, WAV, is going to be the better choice for that, because it is compatible with Microsoft and Apple products. This is only for, the first one is going to be only for Apple. Okay, so if I click on this one, and then click Save, okay, that's fine, just skip that. And now you see that we only get one WAV file. And this is something that you double click on, it will play in iTunes, or you can, whichever.
So the AUP is not the audio file.
This is the project. This is not a sign. You can tell because the icon is also different.
Yeah.
This, if you mouse over on Mac computers, there's already, will show you a play button right here, right? And you can play it. Now, what about MP3s? Because that is sort of the default format that everybody exchanges sound in, right? For audio files. You can also save your tracks in the MP3 format, or rather export them in MP3 format. It gives you that option right here. The thing is, the one thing to keep in mind is that MP3 is it is a compressed file. So the quality of the sound is not going to be as good as with WAV files, but it will be a lot smaller and a lot easier to share. Okay. So if we click on MP3 and hit save, it should not allow you to save it, which is counterintuitive. Because, believe it or not, Audacity does not have innate the libraries that are necessary to code things in MP3, to compress sound in MP2 and MP3. Unless this one already does. Okay, eventually it should bring you to this point right here where it's telling you that it needs this particular library, and this is a file that you need to download from the internet and install on your computer in order to be able to save things in the MP3 format. Now, if you're not interested in saving in MP3, or if you really don't care about the size of the files, then you don't even need to bother about this stuff. If you're okay working with files that are not compressed.
You can show the WAV files.
The WAV files are fine too. Again, this would be, if you were sharing with people, this would be your courtesy towards the people who you're sharing it with.
But also Canvas would not allow the WAV file.
It depends on the size. It's, I mean, this, so if we, let me show you, that's fine. Like
So what
this.
would be another alternative for MP3?
Like this one is, actually, no, you were probably right. So like this short file is already 21 megabytes. Compressed in MP3, this would be like 1.5. There really aren't any viable alternatives for MP3. I would strongly suggest downloading or going through the process and downloading the MP3 libraries that Audacity requires, and I will show you how to do it right now. So MP3 save, yes, don't, okay. And then, so once you get to this frame right here, to this box, you go to, rather than okay, you go to download. And it should open your browser. And then how do I download and install the MP3 encoder? There's Windows, Mac, and Linux options, since most of us are on Macs. We want to go to the CLAME installation section. And then from here, go to the download page. And then you want to go to the first file right here. Let's save it to wherever it saves. That's fine. Make it saved in the downloads. Yeah, so for me it's right here. Now, the way this computer is configured, it will probably not let me install it because it will require the IT administrator's permits or permissions. But I can try anyway. So, to go back, since we are almost out of time, you go to File, Export Audio, MP3 files as the format, hit Save, and then hit Yes, give it another OK. Once you get to this box right here, you click Download, and from the website that opens, you want to identify the system that you're running, so it's going to be Mac in our case, and then go to the LAME installation section link, from where we want to go to the download page, and then select the recommended installer package. Save it, open it, and then just follow the installation wizard. And that's pretty much it when it comes to Audacity. I mean, there's a ton of other features there that I'm not gonna get into today. But if you have a few minutes to spare, maybe an hour, do play with the system. Are you familiar with Linda?
Yes,
So Linda is a resource that is it's part of LinkedIn now. It used to be a separate platform, but it's essentially this online repository of tutorials for everything and anything. Now, the good news is that as a Columbia affiliate, you can use it for free in its full capacity. To do that, you go to lynda.com, you sign in, and then you sign in with your organization portal. So the bottommost link right here. And then the company would be, in our case, Columbia.edu. At which point it should take you to here. And you're in. And then if you look for Audacity, I think it is the first course that you can complete if you want, and it actually gives you all sorts of different tips and teaches you how to perform different functions within Audacity as well. So this would be a good reference. And in terms of Linda, again, they have a lot of tutorials for virtually everything. So Audacity is, of course, one of the platforms that they work on, but there are a number of others. So if you need ideas for advanced use, I don't know, Microsoft PowerPoint or Keynote or whatever have you, chances are pretty high that those tutorials will be on Linda as well. Okay, next week we will take our sound files in WAV or MP3 formats and see how we can post them or turn them into podcasts. So how they can be syndicated, podcasted, if you will, and then how can users sign up to, or sorry, not sign up, but to subscribe to them. Okay.